obviously Trailer Swift, Midnight Trailer. It's just a dumpster fire for me. It really is like the epitome of someone who it's like, hey, those shoes are Nike. I like that's a good name brand. Cool. Like I'll wear it because it looks cool, but like underneath it's just soulless, musicless garbage. Like it just literally is just kind of a complete departure from any of the other music I've heard from Taylor Swift. And I'm not a Swiftie. I'm not somebody who knows all of her music, but I know music when I hear it. And there's very little on this album, very little. And it barely achieves a heartbeat at times. It barely, the only song was the one that made the radio. The
Anti-hero.
What is it?
Anti-hero.
Yeah, anti-hero. Yeah. And I mean, that's it's okay. It's not bad. It's not good. It's like when I hear it, I'm like tapping my fingers and it's a little catchy, but like it's not catchy for the good reason. It's just kind of like nagging at you to pay attention to it, and the lyrics are just weird. The whole thing is just weird, to be honest with you. So I I have no desire to kind of hear the next album that she's going to put out, but like I know I'm going to end up doing it just because the world has just gone insane. Like somebody is playing a horrible trick on me, and that this is like the music that everyone looks up to. And
Well, you're gonna have to listen to it to review here anyway. So
I know,
get ready.
I know. Like I said, I'm gonna end up having to listen to it because it's relevant to the current world's obsessive nature of just like I don't know, like I'm depressed or I'm breaking up with my boyfriend or whatever kind of like girl power rock question mark, just music. But yeah. So but yeah, it's just not good. So number one, Taylor Swift's Midnight. Yeah, there you go. And you go and flash my address up on there, JT. I go and get Google Maps up. So
I got Google Maps.
yeah, that way. While Kyle's being stabbed to death by the 5 seconds of summer kids, I'll be being like crucified by a bunch of like 14-year-old like pissed
For those
off.
of you wondering where Mike lives, Mike is going to be he's going to be crucified
Mike is home between the hours of
exactly. Come find me. I'll leave the
if you
door
find
unlocked.
him in his sleep. No, I'm just kidding.
I'll be sitting in a bathtub, completely naked, drinking a bottle of like freaking Captain Morgan, so that way I can go out with a
Ahoy.
Ahoy!
Captain Morgan.
Yeah.
Well,
come on, do it, JT. Join me. Join me.
Wait. I have to give my little preamble speech. Hold on one sec. So look, all right. So look, I had something else in my worst spot, as in my number one spot. But the more I thought about it, as leading up to now and making a list and doing our stream tonight and writing off our list, let me tell you what I had in this spot too. But I put it down to honorable mention. I had Panic at the Disco's "Viva Las Vengeance."
Yeah,
in that spot.
That was a rough one. Yeah,
that was
rough.
Yeah.
That is my honorable mention. I'll go into just for a brief second. But Panic at the Disco is a band that I actually really respect. I think Brendan Urie is a very talented man, but look, this is a guy you're listening to a guy who willingly reached out to a fan account who had an inner circle saying, "Hey, what's going on with Brendan Urie?" And he was the guy who told me, he said, "Hey, he's going to release a new single in June, and it's going to sound like Queen." I'm like, "All right, cool, I'm excited." And then the album came out, and I was like, "All right, what is this?"
It sounded like Queen, all right.
It sure did. And it really was like, hey, everybody, I'm Brendan Urie. What's going on? I'm Brendan Urie.
Brendan Urie.
No. But that I listened to that. I took the best tracks off that and I added it into a playlist just because I liked probably 3 out of the 7 or 10 or 12 or however. I liked a couple of tracks off there more than I thought I did initially. The title track and like 1 or 2 others. But it's one thing to listen to something and it's another thing to fall asleep to something. I'm not changing the screen. This is my I am a huge Swiftie. Ladies and gentlemen. Kyle is gonna murder me tonight.
Kyle. Oh no, I'm not too far off from you on this one.
Okay.
But for me, this was just more mediocre than bad.
So hear me out for a sec, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages out there listening to us.
Yes.
When you tell me that we are never ever going to get back together after this, you're damn right. But listen, Molly, I'm sorry. This was a terrible album. This was so bad. Oh, listen to me. Listen. Hold on. And the fact that I don't hate this album. There's albums that I hate. We joke about Jordy. I hate Jordy to death, except for Beautiful Mistakes and Memories occasionally, right? But like this one, I don't hate it. It's just so much questionable. Like why? And the fact that it was less about the music, it was more about like the after, like the not the impact, but no, it's the impact it made. The fact that the Billboard Hot 100 had 10 Taylor Swift songs and broke a record from this one album alone. I was like, what is going on in the world?
Yeah.
What you have more? There's more to life than what you're doing.
Yeah, right.
Listen, get off your toilet and realize that there's other music out there. Like, let's be real. There's so much other great music out there besides just this one album. God, people, and I go on Spotify. I'm like, all 10 of her spots are filled with this. I'm like, guys. It's not that great.
And that's why I kind of mentioned
recency bias wears off.
Yeah, and that's why I mentioned Quedeca. Is Quedeca's album worse than Taylor Swift's Midnights? Structurally, yes.
Yes.
And music, like overall, like organizationally and overall is like just blended and all this. Absolutely. But does Quedeca have anything to live up to that Taylor Swift does? Hell no. Like I've heard Taylor Swift's previous stuff and I'm like, that's a great song. I mean, like everything's great about it.
Like, let's be honest, she has some of the best pop album, like objectively some of the best pop albums of not only the century, of all time. Like 1989 is one of the best pop records I ever made.
Love Shake It Off. Okay, that album is incredible.
And I mean, as well, although I can't echo that I agree with any of those statements, I do admit to you that when I hear a song from one of those albums, I can go, that song has like it has a catchiness to it. At no point do I feel like I'm falling asleep or I have to check myself into Mid-Hudson Regional Hospital because I
you just disclose where you're gonna go tonight so they can find
you. Now they know I'm near Mid-Hudson Regional. But I mean, like, they're not my cup of tea, her previous stuff, besides a couple of songs, but I hear it and go, like, not bad, not great, but not bad. This one, I couldn't utter those words, besides the Antihero one. Everything else was it was just like a fart in the wind, man. It was just
direction of the midnight.
Direction of the fart of the midnight, farting at midnight.
The midnight fart.
Midnight fart direction. Yeah.
No. But like, listen, true story. Like, so the weekend before we did our stream for the review of this album, I listened to it. My girlfriend's gonna kill me, but I listened to this album. She's her top Spotify artist was Taylor Swift. I'm like, oh God, what am I doing? So bear with me, everyone. Forgive me. My girlfriend said, she said, hey, can we listen to the Taylor Swift album on the way up? Because we're going to Boston that weekend. We're going to Salem, whatever, for like Halloween, right? And she's like, hey, let's put on. I'm not kidding to either one of you. I was literally half falling asleep. And I'm driving. It was the worst part of it. Anti-hero. It's like maroon or whatever. No, I mean, it just there was nothing I would go back to. maybe anti-hero, but the fact that she is not, and I hate people, I don't use this word often. I hate when people bash her because like, oh, she's not talented. She has all the success in the world because she is talented. Kyle can back me up on that.
Oh yeah, and she actually writes most of her stuff on her own, and if anything, it's usually one other person, maybe two, helping her, and it's usually different people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But and the fact that she is a very talented, she's very got an incredible singing voice, but the fact that she put out this, and look, I will say though, I mean, as someone who enjoyed Folklore, I know you didn't, but as someone who enjoyed Folklore more for what they were though, this was a step up. I agree with you, but I hope her next album is like more of like that, welcome to New York. It's been waiting for you.
I question a lot of people's thoughts that this album sounds like 1989.
No, it doesn't.
I've heard a lot of people say that, and I'm like, no, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
It has some more pop leaning elements, but it's essentially if Folklore and Evermore were pop instead of folk.
Yeah,
it's that same thing. It's like indie pop where there's hardly any beats going on. There's like no instrumentation.
Yeah,
and when there is, it's not exciting.
I agree.
The thing that saved this from being lower for me is there are a handful of songs I actually really like on Antihero being one of them. I love that song.
Yeah, I enjoy it too. But that's
there's a lot of bonus tracks I think are solid.
Yeah.
Karma I think is a solid song. I actually really like Snow on the Beach. But a majority of it,
Kyle. No, I'm just kidding.
A majority of it though, I don't think is bad as it is being boring.
You've been somewhere before the tribunal, Kyle.
All you see is a hook.
It's just a boring record. Like I wouldn't say there's a lot on it that's objectively bad. Like I don't think there's anything on here other than maybe like a couple of things. Like there's 2 songs I think that I would say are objectively bad songs. The rest of it's just boring and forgettable.
I agree.
But whereas you have like the ones on my list that I put on here are albums that are just loaded with bad song after bad song.
Somewhere there are screaming girls, like literally, and not screaming nice things at us right now. But yeah,
all 2 of them that watch us.
Full disclosure, she's like my second favorite artist.
So I know
when this was supposed to come out, and you see the aesthetic and all like the promotional images and everything, it looks like it was going to be like a 70s inspired, like Fleetwood Mac inspired,
like that kind of
rock record.
Well, no way were you wrong.
Got something super far from that, and I was like, "Well, this is a letdown."
It's lo-fi, bro. It's lo-fi girl. Isn't there like an artist named Lo-Fi Girl?
I'm sure there is. Lo-fi is awful though.
Yeah, and for like a game I play, that's the artist that they're featuring, Lo-Fi Girl, and like I don't know, this just sounded like chasing some kind of a fad going on, lo-fi music. It's at midnight. It's something you listen to at midnight to, chill out if you're going to the club with your girls, and I don't know.
So, Mike, I take it you were not one of the people trying to get tickets to the Eras tour?
No, I bought tickets so I could give them to homeless people, so I could have them show up to the show.
Give them to me first.
Yeah,
me too, bro.
I don't want you guys being influenced by this kind of music, so I would not give these. I want you to skip this one and wait for her next album, then I'll give you the tickets. But I want you to trust me, when you go to see this show, she's going to play way too many of these songs, so don't do it. Just wait till next year. Trust me, it'll be better.
Kyle, we're gonna have to wait.
I don't think we'll get tickets to her shows ever again at the rate it's going. So
no, of course. She's like the most popular artist in the world practically. So
yeah, save your money, man.
Yeah, we'll have to get the resale market on TickPick. Just saying.
I check the prices every so often.
Don't get me started.
Ticket prices are still like $600 for nosebleeds.
Don't get me started.
With limited view. They're like the ones that are like half behind the stage, so you can't really see anything.
It's ridiculous.
And people are like, "Yeah, we'll take $600."
And go. You can do with $600. You could literally go see like 6 good artists.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like
exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like
good artists.
Good artists. Yeah.
My plan is to wait until the day of the show, because no one's going to be selling them for those high prices. Then they're going to be selling them for whatever the hell people will give them.
Let's do it. You and me both.
That's what my goal is. Scalp outside and scalp.
We're gonna be outside MetLife Stadium, and be like, "Hey, are you guys selling tickets? You guys selling tickets?
Yeah,
Scalpers here. Hey, where's my cut?" Sure. But anyways, that is my number one. I was as someone who literally does dances to shake it off. I'm saying this in her who dances to shake it off all practically on any given basis.
Don't do that, JT. Don't tell people.
I just admitted it. Though.
Our viewers just dropped from 5 to 2. All right, look, like we just.
I also just want to point out. I don't know if you guys noticed this, but the two of you had 4 out of 5 in common.
That's crazy.
I know that Jake. But I do have to admit there were a bunch of other albums in 2022 that I didn't listen to all the way, but were, I mean, obviously not as bad as these, but they were in my wheelhouse, but failing my wheelhouse. Whereas like, I don't go out of my way to listen to every artist. Like I'm not like Anthony Fantano who just like listen to every single freaking artist out there. And even if they're not into them and then make comments about them, I listen to mostly music that I've heard of. And I sample a couple tracks, and if I'm kind of liking it, then I'll listen to it for the most part. If someone asks me to listen to something, I will listen to it wholeheartedly, and but I'm not just gonna go hunting down like, hey, there's a some random artist who just came out this year, put out an album that everyone's talking about. I'm gonna do it because everyone's talking about it. No, like if anything, I'm running away from those albums because like. It's the ones everyone's talking about are there's so much money behind them. There's so much, pressure by a music industry that is trying to change the sound into today's music, which I've never been a huge fan of. So I tend to go to the underground, the lesser knowns, the artists who are the struggling artists. Those are the artists that I flock towards, when it comes to, who I'm listening to.